We're gonna watch some Derby today. Now, we're gonna watch this game. And this game is Championships 2013. This was the first one I ever went to. This was my first champs. It was very, 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 very special to me. I am going to be supporting both teams we watch. My Texas shirt, my Gotham tank top. The reason I wanted to highlight the WFTDA Championship in 2013 was because Gotham had gone undefeated for a really, really long time. And this was the first time that they were ever actually challenged. Look at all this. Look at this sea of victories. In 2007, they only lost twice, by not much. 2008 was a completely winning season. 2009, very narrow loss. 2010, this 34-point loss was the last time they lost for a long time. Because then look. And this. And we don't count this one because it's MRDA. They were undefeated in the WFTDA for years. And a lot of the championship games had differentials that were pretty wide score differentials. So even though we're watching the best derby in the world, can anyone touch the top team right now? And Texas said, oh, I want to touch you. I want to do more than touch you. All right, first points go to Bonnie. Bloody Mary was in derby for so long, so many years. She had a really great game here. All right, Susie Hot Rod. Now, back in 2013, it seemed like you were in one of two camps. You were either a Bonnie fan or a Susie Hot Rod fan. It was almost like a personality type, like a personality quiz. They both meant like a little bit different things to you. Susie kind of has that rock and roll vibe. Yeah, Susie is a legend. Love that hair too. Undefeated since 2010. Wins, wins, wins forever and ever. Very good at winning. So here we go, Bonnie. You'll notice we're in Jam 3. Bonnie jammed the first jam and now is jamming the third jam. Bonnie will jam every other jam most of this game. If there's a timeout, Bonnie's gonna jam again because Bonnie is the queen of endurance. Bonnie is an all-star at endurance. Just splits right through there. Roller derby was so different back then. There were more opportunities for splitting between defenders, even though we had this flat four wall that we felt very good about at the time. See, look at that. Bonnie's like, yeah, I just jammed in the third jam, but I feel like jamming in the fourth jam too. I've got this. I'm gonna jam all night. Haas the boss, way to go. Haas the boss is lead and has control over the clock, and Texas is probably going to do something that they do pretty often now, which is take control of the time and run things as long as possible to see if Gotham will make a mistake, because Gotham is historically a very low penalty team. They were for a long time, they still are today, and you really have to wear them out if you want them to make a mistake. Susie's back. Gonna see a lot of Bonnie and Susie. And Texas is using all of their jammers. They want to stay fresh. That's how they feel most confident. But I do remember a lot of work being done by Bloody Mary and Olivia Shootin' in this game. Oh, don't get a track cut. Oh, see that? Just barely stepped onto the track and it's a track cut. So now we're gonna have a 1-minute power jam. Remember how derby was? Now Susie's gonna score points on your face. This is the relaxed passive offense. Susie's like, I don't mind. I think I'll just score points now. This is cool. Look at Smarty's footwork. One of the hardest workers in derby. Claire DeWay. I remember you. I love that derby name. Oh, look at that. One Gotham defender in the back. I'm just going to hold you by myself. I'm pretty sure that's Sexy Slady. There's only so many people that are that tall. Wow, nice work, Claire. Bonnie's back. Bonnie's like, I would like to do some more jamming now. Everyone was a fan of Bonnie or Susie, but really we were fans of both. We were always fans of both. I was a Bonnie person, and I still am. I'm still a fan of Bonnie because Bonnie's my endurance hero. I have been in situations, there was a whole season where I had to play games jamming every other for most of the season because we were really short on jammers, and I was one of the people that could be trusted to go out there and do well and not fall on my face too much. I was always watching Bonnie Thunders and the Smacktivist when they were on Ohio. Anyone who was just crushing at endurance, I wanted to watch what they did and try to learn about their physical training and mindset, and when are the times to go back in. And that's what would happen. Like if there was a timeout, I would go back in, and I just practiced going and going and going. And at the time, when I didn't know as much as I do now, I kind of wondered, why does Bonnie have to jam every other jam against teams that are less competitive against Gotham? I understand now, it's one of those things, if you don't practice it, you're not going to be able to do it at the moment when you need to the most, which is this situation, when you're playing at the highest level against the other best team in the world. Now, right now, the score is 49-23, so you're probably wondering, well, does Texas really have it? Texas is gonna really have it. Just hang in there. It's gonna get real, real good. I remember freaking out so much in this game, like taking pictures of the scoreboard and posting it on social media, sending it to people back home. Bloody Mary not calling it off right away. This is a really good Texas strategy, especially since, see, Vicious Van Gogh just got a track cut. I believe this was Vicious Van Gogh's first time jamming in the game so far, and she made a mistake, and Texas is going to capitalize. Texas is going to get the score really close again. Look at all this. This was the beginning of backwards blocking. You can see now how much we've changed and how we execute that. Like, we were just learning. These are the best teams in the world, and this was their best at doing this skill at this point in roller derby history. We were still learning. Now, that's not bad, but you fell down. Oh, hyperlinks in the cat ears. You guys remember this? This is so nostalgic. It takes me back. We used to have a lot more cuter details in our uniforms, our jerseys, our helmets. Something like that actually can be problematic if you had a helmet cover, though, which is why I believe Hyperlinks is not playing the pivot position. Yeah, Susie, get it. So here's another one of those lovely power jams. A whole minute. A whole minute. Isn't it amazing how quickly we got used to having 30-second penalties when they used to be a full minute? Oh, giant hit. OMG's talking to the ref like, did you see what just happened? Did you see what happened to me? Look at that, 63-52. Texas is back in it. Back in it. This is working. This kind of threw Gotham. They're like, why are we getting penalties? We don't get penalties. Maybe we need to fix that. Susie's in the box. Gotham's gonna talk about how they're gonna shut this down. Gotham very much had an attitude of any five, any time. All of us are going to be incredible and amazing and work well together because we're on the same page. We have the same strategy. We've got this. We are one unit. We are a machine together. Texas is not the same as Gotham. They're more about how can I disrupt you? How can I mess up your amazing plan? Texas, for years, oh, that was beautiful toe stop work. Texas, for years, deliberately tries to be disruptive. They have a system, and it's mostly really mess you up from doing your thing. Wear out Gotham, make them tired, make them make mistakes, throw them off their game. Texas's game is preventing you from doing your game. Oh, Haas the boss. Whew. These spin moves were practically untouchable. Not many people were doing spin moves at the time. Haas was one of the leaders of spin moves, pretty much an originator of some of the moves that you see more commonly today. Something Bonnie's always been really good at is just being incredibly rotational, just fighting and doing 360s and just peeling you off. Every time you try to get your body on, she'll just rotate and get through. Just very good at those diagonal trajectories, just kind of punching right through. So many of these skaters played for so long. And of course, Bonnie and OMG still play and now play for Rose City, world champions. Oh, good footwork, Susie. Look how hard she had to hold on there. If she had come back in the slightest bit there, it would have been a track cut according to this rule set. And she had to just use everything in her core to just kind of irk her way right out. And that was what we had to do. You had to just somehow get off the track, even if that meant falling to the ground and crawling off to avoid the track cut. Really glad that that rule has been changed. I remember back in this time period, I feel like you started out in one place, you were inside, middle, or outside, and you often changed throughout because it was a bit of a racing game. You were always running up to the front, running up to the front. So whoever got there, you just got in whatever space you needed, and you didn't always keep a position. I mean, obviously now we still rotate from position to position as well as needed because we have these formations and we flip and we rotate. But back then you just kind of get in front, get in front, get in front. Oh, that was lovely. Look at this. Tie score. Oh, I knocked over my drink. I was too excited. Tie score. Look at that. Olivia shooting John. Oh. Smarty Pants crushing it. Fight, fight. Oh, one blocker does beat that blocker. It's on. Now I'm kind of surprised. It was a tie score and they put out Claire DeWay, who is very good, but Gotham very much will play their most trusted jammers again and again and again as needed during this time. They didn't have a regular rotation that they stuck to as much as they do now, where they want everybody in the rotation to be like equally accountable. Back then, you just played whoever you needed to play, and they would do anything to win. The players just wanted it really badly, and they understood if some players needed to play a little bit more for that to happen. Oh, fighting this one backwards blocker. Oh, thanks, Smarty. Smarty's like, I'll help you again. Yes. Smarty really took a good opportunity there, and it actually paid off. It didn't lengthen the pack like it might nowadays. And now Texas is in the lead. 10-point lead on Gotham. Everyone in the building is losing their minds. The audio is never going to tell you just how loud it was. I had a headache for about 24 hours after being in the building for this game. The noise was just blowing the roof off every time Texas made it close. Not because we didn't like Gotham, but because we were excited for a close game. We wanted everyone in this game to be amazing. And they were. Oh, look at all that. Bonnie just splits right through. Wall? What wall? Look at that. Just big jump, look backwards. Hey, how's it going? Bonnie was someone who taught me a lot about track awareness and being aware of more than just what's affecting you in the game. Because of moves like that where she turned around and looked at the pack. She wanted to see, where is the other jammer? Where is the point in time where I should call it off? She's very good at being aware of everything and checking with the bench and noticing things like penalty box. She just had awareness at a whole nother level, and that made me really start diving into those things too, because I wanted to be more. I saw what she was, and I'm like, I want all of that too. Bonnie's gonna do some defense here. Bonnie has successfully reabsorbed the jammer. Temporarily. Oh, wait. Bonnie drew a back block. Is that incredible or what? Like I talked about in the video with Windy City versus Philly in 2013, back blocks it was really easy for them to happen. And that was just because of how they were being called, how it was agreed upon that they would be called. And since then, back blocks have gotten to something a little bit more reasonable, which I really enjoy. Gotham has gotten a lead again, a 17-point lead, and everyone in the crowd's kind of like, okay, this is pretty much how we expected it to go. Gotham is getting the edge again. And Texas is trying to figure out, okay, how can we be more disruptive? How can we mess up what they are doing more? Gotham is so tight together on Bloody Mary. They don't care about covering the outside line at all right now. They just want to be incredibly tight in front of her and not let her get the inside. Vicious Van Gogh is back. I do not think she has jammed since Jam 8 when she got that penalty. So there was a timeout. Vicious Van Gogh stood out there the whole time, did not play. Bonnie is playing. And by waiting until the last moment to switch out on the line. Texas could have had a plan for Vicious Van Gogh, and now they've got Bonnie, and at this point, no one had a plan for Bonnie. The plan for Bonnie was, let's hope she doesn't play this jam, and we'll try to take advantage of all the jammers that are not Bonnie. Vicious Van Gogh is going to play now against Haas the Boss. Look at that low stance. Let's see what happens to Smarty once this starts. Immediately gets up. It was just a way to really be incredibly low in front of somebody, and I think it was almost more psychological than physically beneficial. Oh, nice rotation there at the end to get around. Good job, Vicious Van Gogh. Haas the Boss still stuck in the pack. Nice sweep attempt there by number 19. Whoa, nice edge work. Oh, except you're going to the penalty box. That's disappointing. Gotham in a power jam with a 19-point lead. This is not what Texas wants to happen, but there's some nice partnership at the front there. Good work with Fifi Phenomenon and Smarty Pants. In later years, Fifi Phenomenon became a primary jammer again, but at this point, she was just a really formidable blocker. And what I loved about Fifi Phenomenon blocking in this game is it seemed to be kind of she was like the counterpart to Sexy Slady, because she's also got a lot of height and a lot of strength and power. So the jammer switcheroo. Some people don't care about how the helmet cover goes on. I'm not one of those people. It's one of those things where I'm like, I really need symmetry. I can't just have it on any which way. I need it to be even and on the sides. And this is the Susie versus Bonnie personality test. Yes, it's super obvious now, right? Susie's too cool for me. She's all rock and roll. I don't care which way my star is on. I gotta be me. I gotta rock out. Some people, if you put something extra on, some sort of extra makeup, it gets you in the zone and it makes you kind of in character. And this was just something Susie did early on. She just tried it out and was like, is this cool? And then it became her thing. And then she always did it. It wouldn't work for me as well. I love her stride. She's one of my favorite skaters to watch speed skate, because look at how far out she pushes. She's got long legs and just gets an amazing push and a great angle in her stride when she speed skates. That was very nice motion going around. Also those glutes though. There's a lot of strength in them glutes. Wow. Oh my gosh. Bonnie looked like she was going to tear it up. She was like on fire going through there. But Olivia Newton-John just got the inside line first. The difference between the inside line and the outside line. Decides not going to keep Bonnie on the track. Something Texas does very smart in this game is Texas will run it long against most people that are not named Bonnie Thunders. And that's a very smart strategic thing to do in this game, because she has incredible endurance. She's just been killing it, jamming every other jam whenever possible, sometimes after timeouts. If Bonnie is out there, Bonnie is an absolute threat. However, that means maybe take your chances with anyone else. Gotham did have a close game with Bay Area earlier in the weekend that made us all sit up and take notice, but it was nothing like this game. This game was a lot closer. Gotham should be feeling pretty comfortable. They've got a 26-point lead. Feels good, but they wish it was more. Bonnie wishes it was more. Gotham wishes it was more. They would like to get more points now. They are short-handed going into this half because 2 blockers in the box, but having Mick Swagger and Sexy Slady out there to start the half, not a bad idea. They're very good at working together and taking up lots of space. These are powerful hitters on the team. So if you come near them, it's probably going to be violent. Yeah, see? Hit, hit, hit. Oof. Got her. Oh, back in. So once again, we're not going to run it against Bonnie. We're not going to take that risk because Bonnie might outscore you. And that's not going to be what Texas wants when they know this is going to be close throughout. Against an opponent like this, where you know it's going to be close throughout and you're barely going to eke it out, you've really got to be on point with your plan. Look how low Susie's getting. She's like, I'm really sneaky. You can't see me. You can't see me. Now, what I like about the sideways stance to attack, which is something that was happening a lot with jammers at the time, is it was kind of more of an edge work thing for mobility. By having a lateral stance to attack, if you were particularly good with your crossover steps like Susie is, you would have a really strong first charge in and you could just push off of your wheels immediately. Whereas sometimes just pointing forward, if you liked using edge work more than toe stops, that might be how you attack right off the line. Knowing the rules and understanding strategy is what takes you from being good to great, absolutely, because that's how you get to unleash your creativity and you start to figure out, well, if the rule is this, what if I did this idea I have? Is this allowed? And that's how our sport has become innovated and evolved over time. It's from the people who understand the rules very, very, very well. They're the ones who take the sport forward. That's how Derby got slowed down. That's how these formations occurred. It was all about, is this okay? What if I did this? What if I tried this thing instead of the thing that everybody else does? And then by the next year, everyone was doing that thing. Susie gets so wide and deep in her stance to just cross over. And that's how she uses those laterals so well in this Derby style. 4 flat wall. Slight backwards reinforcement on the 4 flat wall. Okay, now we've got 2 and 2. We're changing things up a bit. It's so interesting watching Derby from this time again. It's kind of like a loose collaboration of individuals. Oh, we've got a tripod. Nope, not a tripod anymore. Bloody Mary. Juke has everybody very spread out. Does get out. But cleared away is very close. Now, let's see. Texas is slowing down to try and make points happen. But now Claire has a very good chance of getting a point here. We're going to try to run it a little bit long because this is cleared away. Cleared away's name is not Bonnie Thunders. So Texas is going to see what they can do here, and it pays off. We've got 1 scoring pass completed. Right now, Claire is matching. If Claire gets out before Bloody Mary gets back, then we're just trading. But Claire made a mistake, and Texas's strategy absolutely pays off. And now that means the Texas blockers are going to decide, do we help? Do we go passive? Right now they've decided to go passive because they're already so ridiculously spread out. Gotham blockers going to the box. Oh, just one. One came back. She pointed her finger in the air. She asked, I think, for one person to help. Nice juking. Very nice rotational core work there by Bloody Mary. She's just kind of back and forth and back and forth. Especially with so much dedicated forward blocking, you could kind of get someone off of their spot on the track with that sort of movement. Susie Hot Rod's pivot. Now, this is a very, very smart move because you've got cleared away in the box. They don't want Claire to be stuck out there for too long. And they don't want a chance cleared away getting another penalty, so they're putting out one of their most trusted jammers that can block, which is Susie. Susie is a very good triple threat. Now, right now, Claire's doing okay. Doesn't need the help yet. Susie is blocking Claire. Nice one-on-one there against Haas. Susie's trying to put her out of bounds, but cannot. Wow. Nice rotational work once again. Some really good attempts by the Gotham defense, though. They are so good and so strong. Ooh. But see, this is where they're paying... Everything Texas is doing is paying off because Gotham doesn't normally make mistakes like that where they get in each other's way and start like getting flustered and falling over. And you see Gotham fall more in this game than any other game this season. And it just comes from a place of we are really severely being challenged. Beautiful toe stop work. I can't believe she held on to that. Now, Gotham, they're physically strong and mentally strong, but you have to test out these situations where it's crazy to see how you adapt. And they do and will adapt. They're basically going to have moments of panic and then moments of incredible control. Like right there was a lot of control, but Haas was patient and kind of duped them into thinking that she had gone out of bounds. And that's where she got the opportunity to come out right there. So this was huge. Texas just took the lead in this jam. Absolutely huge. Crowd is going insane. Texas is in the lead. We gotta show the Texas support. Still rocking my Gotham tank top. Now, something I love about Bonnie being a captain is I think Bonnie is one of the best communicators with officials in the entire sport. Bonnie goes out there plenty of times during the game, whenever she's allowed to, and respectfully starts a conversation. So she's very respectful. She's never indignant. She's never emotional. She just asks for clarity, brings things up, and oftentimes things work out because she has a really good communication style with talking with officials. Gotham, again, is having penalty trouble. This is very unusual for them, and Texas is going to take advantage. OMG and Mick Swagger are going to be up at the front here, and they're trying a forwards-backwards approach, which is pretty novel for the time. Smarty Pants easily coming up and getting OMG off the mark a little bit because it's hard to defend from that position, and we especially weren't that good at it back then. Bonnie, very calm, very stoic at this point in her career. Checking the scoreboard, checking the time. Susie is back from blocking, back into jamming. That's some really good one-on-one blocking from Mick Swagger at the front. Just so much lateral motion. 1 point game. People are losing their minds. 19 and a half minutes left to compete. A nice moment between jammers talking about what's working and not working. You're doing a great job. Bonnie's back. And Olivia Newton-John, who is having a great game too. I talked a lot about Bloody Mary and Olivia Newton-John earlier, but Haas the Boss absolutely crushed it in this game too. I think I forgot how significant all of her work was. It was such a blur of emotions and screaming as a fan. Bonnie is calm, but you can tell she's not happy about this differential. Bonnie has really high standards. Susie got the multiplayer block because she was really trying hard to reach onto her player to get around, and a Texas blocker saw that, took advantage of it, and tried to make an attempt to get between that bind. And that's how a jammer gets a multiplayer block. It feels like the worst. It feels like something that should never happen to you, but it always happens when you're trying to reach for your friend and it doesn't work out. Usually those moments will work out. She just got a little too close to the sun playing on those toe stops. 1 point lead for Gotham, and the crowd goes wild. I'm like really keyed up right now watching this. This game is so close, and I remember how exciting it was to be there, and I really feel like I'm reliving those emotions right now. I can feel my heart rate is up. I'm kind of like a little fluttery. Haas the Boss has a power start. This is a really good choice. Haas the Boss took super great advantage of the last opportunity. And she's just so good at the side-to-side motion. And if they do bunch up like this and try this little tripod stuff, she smokes them like she did right there on the inside line. Just absolutely crushes them, because the reason we didn't do these little formations back then is we didn't trust our lateral ability to cover the track. You saw that they went flat wall at first to give her less options because they didn't want her to do one of those lovely side surfings around the outside. Oh my gosh. That was spectacular. But yeah, a jammer that can move like that could take advantage of anyone that got into a smaller formation. And that's why everyone liked to stay really flat, really wide. But now we drill laterals. Every level of play drills those laterals so that you can't get smoked like that quite as easily. Who were you rooting for when you were there? I was rooting for a close game. And that meant most of the time Gotham was ahead, so I rooted for Texas most of the game because I always wanted it to be close. But I had so much respect for Gotham that I'm obviously not booing them, obviously love Bonnie. I just rooted for whoever was behind, and most of the time that was Texas. It never felt like, even now, like Texas has a little bit of a lead, but Bonnie is the one that's out there. It never feels like Texas's lead is safe in this game. At no point in time. It always felt like it might be this fleeting thing, like a double rainbow. But you kept wanting to see it because it's so magical. You wanted it to come back. It's like there was pixie dust just flying off the scoreboard. This game just felt so special. You felt like you were seeing something special, and you felt like you were seeing history. And that's why this was one of the games that made it very quickly onto my list. I've got a few games like this that I felt this way about over the last decade that I've been playing Derby. I can't believe it's been that long. My Derbyversary is coming up on May 15th. Happy 10-year to me. But there are games like this that stick with you, that you just remember where you were, whether it was in the venue like I was this day, or watching at home on the couch, and who you were watching with, and the ups and the downs and the emotion, and if you were jumping up and down screaming, if you were crying. Our plow stops were very wide at the time, and sometimes we got in each other's way. There was an overlap of legs that you had to negotiate, and the way the blockers lined up together was often determined based on the height and where the hips are and how long the legs are. You kind of had to set up in a puzzle piece way where you could fit together without messing each other up because of the wideness of the plows. But now our mobility has increased, and we've gotten so much better at having smaller plows too, which was a skill we didn't have back then. All right, Olivia Shooten-John's in the box. All right, so sending one person was usually what you started, and then Susie gets through, so they don't need to continue. They basically just ran up to reform briefly. Really nice side blocking there from OMG, switching to backwards and then trying to keep transitioning, but particularly hard to do that well on the turn. Your inertia and physics wants you to keep turning towards the inside line because of the direction we skate. You want to rotate the same way. That's why you work really hard on transitioning both ways. I don't think anyone knew that it could be this close. A 4-point game with 8 minutes left. This is still anybody's game to win. But Gotham really wants to make sure it's theirs. All right, Bloody Mary's out there trying those little sidestepping. That worked really well. She did a little bit of juking, and Sexy Slady just fell over with very little physical effort made by Bloody Mary. Just the side-to-side motion. It's confusing, and you fall over. Bloody Mary stole a point. Crowd's going wild. You see, you see how she was blocking backwards by herself at the back of the formation? Back then, we were still figuring out, how does this backwards thing work? How do we do this well? And that meant you would just try it sometimes, even if you were at the back of the pack, like maybe this is okay. And sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't, because as we've learned now, it's very hard to work together with a person that's backwards blocking by themselves. Like right now, like I guess I push on your back. Is that good? Is it good if I push on your back? Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. It depends on what that person needs to do right now laterally. Sometimes it can be a hindrance, sometimes it's supportive. But most often these days you will see a tripod, because the forward-facing players can do everything laterally a lot stronger than the backwards players can. And they can partner up and put their bodies in a way that fit together. It's harder to get the bodies to fit together when one person is backwards, especially if they're behind you, like that blocker was. Bonnie's doing some proximity intimidation. Like, hey, do you want to go in here? Would you like to jam right here? I also would like to jam right here. Is it weird that I'm right next to you? How do you feel about this? I love the intimidation factor of getting really close to someone. Nice. One of the things I absolutely love about Bonnie is how she can very quickly do that huge step that's pretty much a jump laterally to get around somebody, especially getting around that last person. And those abrupt changes in direction are just really hard to defend against, especially in this style of play. It was just every move Bonnie had, it felt like it was game over for the other team. They didn't have ways to defend against it well. But that's why it's awesome to have a player like Bonnie Thunders in the world of roller derby, because she makes you better. If you have a player that you just do not know how to stop under any circumstances, that means you have to develop new ways of playing. You have to figure out, what do I need to do with my body to stop your body? You experiment and you try and you try and try again, because this is the unstoppable player. This is the one to beat. And they are playing around over here quite a bit. Bonnie has put her out of bounds and is like, would you please come get this jammer? Again, Bonnie's like, please take the jammer. Thank you. Thank you. I left you a snack. Come eat it. Nom nom. I left you a jammer. If there is jammer on jammer action and you successfully get the other jammer reabsorbed into the pack, we call that eating the baby. But it's a very strange term and I don't know where it came from. Bloody Mary communicating with her blockers, like, stay back here. I'm gonna beat this one person. Oh, Mick Swagger almost got her to the outside anyway. Oh, wow. Great lateral move. Almost lost it. They decided that that was a track cut. I think she was hoping that she didn't actually touch down on the outside, but the outside pack ref has determined that that did indeed happen. Less than 3 minutes to go. Over 20-point lead, 23-point lead for Gotham, still scoring. Susie's just playing very carefully right now. She knows how much time is left in the game and that it's going to be really hard for Texas to just dump points on them at this point, particularly with their jammer in the box. Gotham is going to play very safe and careful. They've only got Swagger out as help. There's only 2 minutes between you and the Hydra. Do not mess this up. Just be really careful. We don't have to do anything terribly flashy here at the end. We need to secure the victory. Even if it's boring to watch, because we've worked too hard to get here. Bloody Mary is trying the side-to-side motion. They are not falling for it as much now. Not biting. Bloody Mary was the MVP. And that was a really good choice because she's a phenomenal leader for Texas and played for them for so long. I really love how nowadays we have the penalty overlays that the announcers can kind of click to whenever. I like knowing who's in danger of exiting the game and who's playing clean. I think it's important information that kind of says how the team is dealing with the situation mentally. Because if your mental game is completely on point, you're not likely to have a lot of penalties because you're being pretty chill about things. Nice one-on-one. See, just sitting. Like, and then Haas is like, I'm just going to run around you now. So Haas is lead, but she's got a mountain to climb of nearly 30 points. Yeah, what the announcers are saying is absolutely right. She's not going to be able to get it all in this jam. They want to make sure they have another jam, and that means that they have to call it with enough time to do a timeout or an official review, which they're going to use their last one. It is risky, though, because then you don't know if you're going to get lead in the last jam. But they're going to send out Bloody Mary for it because they're the one. She's the one that they trust the most. She leads the team. Everyone's excited. The crowd is going crazy. Susie's in the huddle. The announcers are like, I think it's going to be Bonnie, but we'll see who actually stays to jam the last jam of this game to confirm Hydra. Sexy Slady fouled out. This is very suspenseful. Like, yes, she fouled out. Get over it. That's basically what the ref is saying. Move on. Move along. Here we go.
Time fans, it all comes down to this.
Both teams scored 91 points this half. They are dead even on points going into the last jam as far as performance in the second half. That's so phenomenal. All right, surging forward. Bonnie's like, I'm going to win the game now. Wait for the period clock to run out. Win the Hydra. Oh, that was a lovely leap of joy. Now the emotion comes out. Bonnie keeps it stoic the whole game. Then she lets the joy in. I loved that little jump. A very close game. I mean, considering it doesn't feel like it's close at the end because Gotham did get a little bit of a buffer, but it always felt like Texas was in it and that it could happen, but they had to do everything like practically perfect to make it happen, and that's a very tough feat against a team that plays perfectly a lot. They helped Gotham make a lot of mistakes in this game, and that was absolutely commendable. It was a huge accomplishment. Oh, what a game. So that's Gotham versus Texas 2013. This was the champs game, and this was the first close game in a long time. And it raised the question, who can beat Gotham? We thought Texas was so close, maybe it's Texas. So everyone expected Texas to be in the final game the next year. But if you've been studying your roller derby history, you know that that was not the case because Gotham, Texas had to rematch in the semifinals. So they couldn't both go to the finals that year because of the way the bracket was set up. Texas would have had to beat Gotham in the semifinals to go to the final game. Rose City ended up there instead, and that started the trilogy. The same three teams have been in the finals for 6 years. So the question is, who's going to be the next new team to jump into that? Is it going to be an arch rival or a Denver? Who is the next team that can make that leap into the final game? This was an incredible game. This was so great. Thank you so much for coming to another Storytime with Jackie, watching Derby together. I'm so buzzed right now.